Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. Before I say anything, why don't you hit that subscribe button? This is Ghost Stories Told from the South, and I'm your host, Stephen LeBooth, with some of the creepiest stories around you guys. All right, well, before further ado, just want to say thanks to everybody listening. The numbers are getting bigger, growing. Thank you very much, man. We're going to hit over 5,000 pretty quick. So, I want to thank you guys for all of it. But let's get to the audio part and get this goddamn show going. Well, hello, and welcome back, everybody, to Ghost Stories Told from the South. I am your host, Stephen LeBooth, and I've got some creepy stories for you today. I've got my Red Bull and my water. I am ready to go. So, let's do this. Hope everybody's having a great, scary week. Halloween's around the corner. Better start looking into what you want to be for Halloween. Get them costumes ordered so you ain't last minute looking. Just want to say thanks to everybody. Like I said, the numbers are growing. We're going to be hitting way over 5,000 pretty quick. But I hope you guys are ready for a good show. Don't forget to check us out on Spotify, Pandora, iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, I believe. We're pretty much anywhere you get podcasts, you can get ours. Don't forget, check us out on the other YouTube page too, guys. But just want to say thank you. Numbers are growing. Y'all are just making me feel awesome. Our numbers are growing around the world too. So I didn't write down. Next time I do a podcast, I'll write down the countries that are continuously listening. One's right off the bat is, of course, America. But Canada, Germany, I believe Poland. There's some countries in Africa that's starting to download too. Some places in Africa that's starting to download. It's just amazing, guys. Spain, New Zealand. Just want to give a shout out to everybody. And if I miss you, I'm sorry. But next time I'm going to write this stuff down and I'll be better on to it. Well, I guess I will stop rambling and we'll get on with some stories. Here's our first one. Our first story is the Elks Lodge, number 537, in Miles City, Montana. During the Prohibition era, the Elks Lodge was something of a hot spot in Miles City. It was pretty much the place to be if you were in search of drinks and entertainment, if you know what I mean. There are more rumors that it may have been a favorite hangout of Bonnie and Clyde, who apparently went through to play cards, or went there to play cards. And in 1953, the Elks Lodge was the site of the suicide, and this is believed to be behind the paranormal activity that has been reported in the building. There have been many sightings of a female spirit wearing a long dress wandering the halls of the Elk Lodge, and she has even been caught on camera. On one occasion, coming out of the bathroom. Wow, I wonder if she had to go take a ghostly poop or a ghostly pee. Here's some more stuff I got. Of course, the Elks Lodge was the hot spot for Prohibition, and it was the place to go drinking and stuff like they say. It still don't say why this woman committed suicide. On both stuff I looked up for that story, it does not say why she committed suicide. It don't say because of a boyfriend dumped her or a husband dumped her or maybe she was pregnant. But that's one thing I really couldn't find a story on of why she committed suicide. So, but yeah, if you're ever around Miles City, I believe this is in Montana, then, or no, yeah, Montana, then go check out Miles City. Go check out the Elk Lodge and see if you see anything. All right, let's do our second story. Okay, our second story is the Kells Irish Pub in Seattle, Washington. The Kells Irish Pub, or the Kells Irish Restaurant, a family friendly bar and restaurant set in the historic Butterworth building of downtown Seattle, was the once home to the country's first purposely built monitory and and has had a long interesting I can't even fucking talk. A long interesting history since. With rumors of paranormal activity going back to nearly a century ago, it is no wonder that its popular downtown eatery has long been reported to be one of the most haunted pubs in Washington. But in a city that has a sordid past as deep and diverse as Seattle, what horrors could possibly make one Irish pub stand out among the other? Here's some little did you know facts about the place. The entrance to the restaurant is where the bodies of the dead were brought into the mortuary. And in 1903, it was the first building in the United States to be established as a permanent monastery or monetary. If you hear any stuff in the background, that's just the kids. I got the doors shut to the studios, but they're cleaning and stuff. Steph likes to jam out, cleaning her room to music, so. And it was the first location to offer services related to death. So that was the first like mortuary, and it was the first place established to related to death to do that stuff. It sold coffins and it did all the funeral stuff. There was a special policy in place at the mortuary that would allow families to remain with their loved ones before the burial. It is said that the ghosts are attached to the building because of its positive energy. The haunting history behind the Butterworth building. It is often said that ghosts are drawn to positive energy, which the Butterworth building certain or the Butterworth building's current occupants produce an amplified amount of with their cozy Irish pub. But the original Buttersworth building and the services it provided was not always so lighthearted. It is the Mascabera era in the building's history that was led to its reproduction of being one of the most haunted pubs west of the Mississippi. And subsequently, there have been countless sightings that suggest that the building's reputation is not all that as reminded over the years. And that's another thing. Doing these ghost stories, I have found out everybody says that, oh, this place is the most haunted. This place is the most haunted. I don't really believe that anymore because I see it all the time. The controversial history of the Buttersworth and Sons mortuary has long led to the belief that there is an immense volume of negative energy attached to the building's past. Well, of course, they dealt with death. There's going to be negative energy, much of which can still be seen and felt to this very day. From rumors of coffins being burned empty because the bodies were sold for profit, to the questionable practices of a doctor by the name of Linda Hazard, who was known to treat her patients with starvation. There has been no shortage of dark history within the building. There has even been rumors and reports of unexplained noises within its walls, and many people have claimed to experience feeling unease when left alone in the building, especially late at night. Throughout the years, many spiritualists have been brought to the Buttersworth building, which that I bet you that's probably like a medium, a person that can see ghosts or hear them. You know them people. Throughout the years, many okay, I would have said that. Oh no, throughout the years, many. Oh, well, yeah, I did already read that. Okay, I'm sorry, I flipped that around. Okay, let's start right here. Throughout the years, many spiritualists have been brought to the Buttersworth building in an attempt to interact or have meaningful communication with the alleged spirits who remain there, including both Catholic priest and a voodoo priestess, a voodoo child. Additionally, the building has made the apparition in many documents and written works to the paranormal field, making it one of the most haunted attractions in the city, but one of the most documented as well. The modern hauntings of the Buttersworth building. Perhaps one of the most frequent sightings reported to the pub is one of a young girl who is commonly described as being dressed in a scarlet veil dress with red ringlets. Oh my God, it's not a white dress, it's got color in it. Yay! Cascading down over her shoulders, which is often referred to as a prankster and is said to be drawn to other children. There we go. Many people many people claim to have seen the young girl, and some have even left the Irish pub terrified because of it. But despite the frightful and sudden apparitions, the common the common uh, the common denominator here among employees is that she is playful and friendly spirit. Well, that's good. She's not a real big pain in the ass, tearing stuff up or being mean to people. Another frequent ghost one might encounter is known by the name of Charlie, an older gentleman who is most often seen wearing a hat. Charlie is said to appear randomly throughout the building, only to disappear shortly after. Like the young woman in red. Ooh, a woman in red. You don't hear about that. It's always a woman in white. Charlie is also known to be very friendly and and a sociable spirit. However, there have also been reported encounters with other spirits, some of which have been described as less welcoming. Excuse me. One spirit of note involves the mother of the current owner of Kells Irish Restaurant one night. It is said that she fell down a flight of stairs and just barely avoiding any serious injuries. When asked about it, she claims that she had been pushed from behind, even despite there being no one around to do so. It is the the predator was indeed another ghost haunting the historic pub. It would not be the first time the physical contact between people and spirits have been reported inside the building. The origins of the Butterworth building. The Butterworth building, of which base levels is currently occupied of the Kells Irish restaurant, was originally constructed to serve as a mortuary. The building became known in 1903 as the Butterworth and Sons Mortuary, later moving to a new location in 1923. A spiritual figure about the Butterworth building is that it was one of the very first faculties to operate as a monetary, anyways, in the United States, designed specially for the purpose instead of being re, retro re, re, being renovated later after oh, it was they did a little walkthrough after the construction. They did like a little walkthrough, and it still didn't really fix anything with the sage or whatever they use when they light that thing and walk around and say, please, whatever, this house. But the Buttersworth building, morbid business, is not the only interesting feature it boasts. In fact, late Victorian building, which was designed by John Graham Sr., has a unique structural layout that makes it appear to have three stories from certain angles when it actually has 5. That's fucking crazy. The different stories all had their own unique functions within the the mortuary, creating a different system that made Butterworth and Sons stand out against the competition. For example, one used on one was used only to store the mortuary's bodies, so others could deal slowly or with their deceased. So they'd put them in a different place and not bury them just yet, and let these people take their time mourning. That's pretty nice of them. They don't do that anymore. It's like, let's get the people in here, get their money, and kick them out. All right, guys. Well, that was the Butterworth building in Seattle, Washington. And it's a pub now. So if anybody's up there in that area and has ever been there, let me know, man. Okay. Our next story is a big one. Okay, our next story is about the Burton Cumming Theatre in Canada, I believe in Winnipeg. Would 2 of Winnipeg's most famous ghosts show up at the Walker Theatre for their 100th Death Day party this week? Oh, it's asking, will they show up? Because apparently when they wrote that story, it was the 100-year birthday. If I'm working, I just might be a cupcake, but 2 candles on and leave it on the stage for them. Says Kenny, the ghost-friendly house technician at the theater. He re-Christianized the Burton Cumming Theatre for the Performing Arts in 2002. Then I'll wait for, that's what he did. And then this is him saying after he leaves the the cupcakes up there with the two candles, he will wait for them to come down and blow them out. That would be something if they did it. A century ago this week, a notable English acting couple, Lawrence Irving and Medell Heckney, left Winnipeg by train for Quebec City after a trumpet North American tour that accumulated at then 7-year-old Walker Theater. Mabel Hickney and I'm just gonna say Mabel and Lawrence died aboard the Empress of Ireland. The renowned Londoners, he was the damper 42-year-old son of the illusionist British actor Sir Henry Irving. The first stage performer to be knighted had booked a passage home to London via Liverpool on the Corsican, but a friend convinced them to transfer to the larger Canadian Pacific sister ship, the Embrace of Ireland. But disaster struck the Embrace on May 22nd at about 2 a.m. It was rammed by the Norwegian Kohler stored something in the fog on the starboard side, at the St. Lawrence River of Remigosha, claiming over 1,000 lives. Canada's worst peacetime maritime disaster. The death toll included Irving and Hickney, the most prominent of the passengers. The most famous, basically, is what they're saying. Wayne Kalawaki and Winnipeg Free Press Burton Cumming Theatre ghost-friendly house tech Kenny says some believe two actors who died 100 years ago still haunt the Winnipeg Theatre. Well, if that was a place that they hung out a lot and there was really, loved the building and they died while there's a way, it's nothing unusual for that spirit to come back and haunt it. The Winnipeg theater goers are shocked and saddened by the deaths of the actors they had so loudly applauded the previous week during the performance of four plays. Typically, the unknown written law, the Lily in the first full production of the importance of being earnest. Before Irving left the Grand Walker stage, he bowed to the audience farewell, saying, as reported by the papers of that day, that he was departing with only the most delighted memories. Then he vowed to return with new stage work. So he was wanting to come back here. So that means he really liked the place. Irving and Hickney were last seen collapsed in each other's arms as the ship slipped beneath the waves. That's fucking cool. I mean, it's not cool that they died, but at least they died together in each other's arms. His body was found still clutching a fragment of his wife's nightdress in his hand. The 34-year-old Hickney was never found. So the guy was found, but the wife was never found. Their deaths are commemorated by shining copper plaque installed in the lobby of the 1,636-seat Walker in 1915. Irving and Hickney apparently kept their promise to return, becoming the house ghost of the Smith Street Theater where they last performed together. All theaters are said to be haunted by the spirits of former actors, and they were soon blamed for such activities as spooky whispering, clapping, and ghost sightings. Jackson, the theater technician, has worked at the Walker for 23 years. Most days he's the first in the building and last out. He has heard about the things that go bump in the night at the Walker, which was converted into a first run movie theater in 1945, then back into a rental house. It was recently taken over by True North Sports Entertainment, who counted themselves as ghost disbelievers until a night 13 years ago when he and his sound technician were about to have a beer before closing up. We were sitting over there, Jackson, who's 50, says during recent interview backstage, pointing to the table upstage right. I watched something rise down stage left, and it was a stocky woman in a black dress. She seemed to rise up from the floor and disappeared over there. It was only a second or two, and there was no wave, no hello, no nothing. He returned. He returned to his place. He returned to his colleague, who confirmed he had seen the apparition too. Both bolted out of the theater. I later checked the plaque out there because who else could be? It could be. Jackson says since then I call her Michelle. I assume it was her. By nature, stage folk are superstitious a lot, and their rituals go farther than simply refusing to utter the word Macbeth in a theater and risk the wrath of recent spirits. In order to appease those apparitions, every theater employs a medium, a person that can read the ghost or talk to him or whatever. That and they put them in there, in the night when no one's there, allowing any actor spirits to perform when the place is closed. So every now and then they bring this person in. Most theaters ghost light on. Most theaters leave a ghost light on the stage, but at the Walker, a single bulb, the four-story fly gallery level, illuminates the stage. I leave that one on 24/7, he said. I like to think they hang out up there. I call it Mabel's Ghost Light. Jackson has experienced many eerie, unexplained moments in the theater. The sound of someone walking up the wooden stairs in the second balcony, known as the God's sidelights, that go on and off. Shadows moving in the otherwise empty buildings, and an uneasy feeling of being watched. A friend's dog suddenly went nuts trying to get out and get into a room on the fourth floor. But when the door was open, nothing was found. He says a couple of weeks ago, a True North employee telephoned to ask whether Jackson could explain hearing a door shut and seeing a band on a railing in the empty theater. Oh, seeing a hand, not a band, a hand on the railing. I've heard hand clapping in the theater when I was by myself, he says. Was it a pecan or a truck going by? I try not to think too much about it, and I just move on. I had to get a drink. Told you this one's long. Where's it at? Oh, okay. She's frequently ghost. She's a friendly ghost. I talk to her and joke with her. If I hear something, I say, "Hey Mabel, Is that you? I haven't heard an answer yet. And if I do, I will be out of here in a hurry. I would too if I said something and got a fucking answer back. There has been one female staff member who wasn't so comfortable with the creepy presence. She was working by herself when she suddenly felt she wasn't alone. She came bolting out of the first balcony and went out of the front door and swore she wasn't coming back because the place was haunted, recalls Jackson, who until April was the Walker's general manager. He never even came back to get, or she never even came back to get paid. That's fucked up. That's pretty scary. While most Winnipeggers don't want to have anything to do with the supernatural, others are keen to encounter Irving and Hackney, who met in 1910, and they both were members of his father's stage company. I don't like to say they were Brangelina of the Brangelina of their day, but that Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie are the Lambert of the day. Says Tim Sewell, a Winnipeg historian, buff, and ghost enthusiast. They were media darlings back then, so they were the kind of like the first ever big time stars. He would like to be in the theaters overnight Wednesday. He liked to be in the theater overnight on Wednesday to see if the couple makes a special appearance. I cannot imagine any other night are more likely to appear than May 22nd of 2014, he says. I do believe ghosts exist. I wouldn't be happy to wait up and see her if anything happens. If the Burton Cumming Theatre will be amenable of a ghost watch on that night. I carefully, with no shame whatsoever, propose myself as the first volunteer. No more than 5 people. Please, ghosts are unknown to ghosts don't like crowds. So that's pretty cool. Got an old couple that still haunts the theater that they were at quite frequently. And that happens with a lot of these ghost stories. I've noticed that when the people pass away and it's a building they really, really like have been there for, then or been there and really liked, then they come back in their afterlife. All right, guys. I am going to take a real quick break, do a commercial, and I'll be right back. Well, I hope you like that commercial, guys. All right. Our next story is of the Fort Peak Theater. I'm going to turn my light up a little bit for this one. My bifocals are working, but it's a little dark in here. A little dark in here. While Fort Peak Dam was being built in the 1930s, the town of Fort Peak was built as a temporary home for the U.S. Army Corps and engineers and their families. So the workers and the engineers of it basically made this town. That's why it's here. There were homes and other amenity buildings, including the Fort Peak Theater, which was completed in 1934 so that the workers would have some entertainment after they get off work and on days that they're not working. Although it is intended to be temporary, the theater remains in use today for a variety of theater productions. It is said that the Fort Beck Theater is haunted by a female ghost who will manifest wearing 1930 style clothes. It is common for people to hear the sounds of a man at work when the theater should be empty. There have been reports of apparitions in the dressing rooms from time to time. All right, here's some more stuff I got on it. When President Roosevelt authorized the Work Progress Administration construction of the Fort Peak Dam in 1933, the instant town with a population of 10,000 was created. A need for a social and recreational devices in the remote area of Montana. Basically, they're thinking of recreational stuff for these families and workers to do to keep their mind occupied and, just keep them busy besides work. The Army Corps of Engineers designed and constructed the theater in less than 9 months at the cost of nearly $90,000. The theater opened its door in 1916, in November 16th of 1934 as a movie house. There was enough seating there for over 1,200 people. And conditioned showings ran 24 hours a day. So they ran films here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week during the construction of the Fort Peak Dam. Patreons sometimes braved lines as long as 7 blocks to see the newest films from 40 cent for a 40 cent floor or a 30-cent seat or a 30-cent balcony seat. The theaters function as a movie house seized in 1968, but its originally carbon arch projectors remain in the operational condition. The cutout balusters and false balconies and the beams and the partnered sidings of its Swiss chalet style construction reveal careful attention to the architectural detail that is unsuppressed in the WPA construction in Montana. The Fort Peak Theater now houses the largest professional theater company in eastern Montana and is a cultural treasure, serving almost 8,000 theater goers during the summer months. So, if you're ever around Fort Peak, go to the Fort Peak Theater and check that out, guys. See what you think, you slimy gays. Okay, we have 2 more stories. I need to get a drink of water. Oh, yeah. Well, guys, let's see. All right, I'm going to do one more commercial because I got 2 big stories kind of coming up. One short one and one kind of long one. So I'm going to do one more commercial, take another drink of water, and we will get on with the story. Oh. Hey guys, how y'all doing out there? Y'all doing all right? All right. Stephanie hates its commercial, but I'm going to do it anyway. All right, let me get another song up. Get it ready for my next. God. Uh, all right. I hope y'all like that commercial. Stephanie hates it. She always says we need to redo it. Okay, our next story is the Saint. Now, if I'm saying it's wrong, I'm sorry. The Saint Boniface Cathedral in Winnipeg, Canada. It's a museum specializing in the Franco-Manitoban culture and history. It was finished in 1851 and has been a nunnery and an orphanage, a school and a retirement home, and a hospital. I bet you this place got a lot of stuff in it since it's been a hospital and a sanatorium and a nunnery. Phenom sounds of singing monks and women's choruses, along with the sounds of children running and playing, have been reported. Excuse me. Also, lights flicker, water turns on and off, doors open and close, and the folks often notice an eerie feeling that they are being observed by something they cannot see. So, if you're there in Canada, check that out for me. I'd love to hear about that. I'd love to hear about that. That'd be pretty cool, I think. All right, I'm going to get ready for our last one. It's a good one. All right, this last one is Starvation Heights Sanatorium in Olalla, Washington. I hope I said that right. All right, this is a story of Dr. Hazard's health plan. And he had a big old hospital like place to do this called Starvation Heights in Olalla, Washington. Here we go. Linda Hazard is an unlicensed doctor. She opened a sanatorium for patients on her starvation recommendation in the early 1900s. Now, I know scientists, that's their job is to go make these hypotheses and see if they're right or whatever, but come on, common sense would tell you starving yourself is not right. I know you can do it for a couple days to get fit, lose weight, but you need some food, guys. You need to feel the energy. Hazard believed that starvation was the cure for all elements and that it got rid of the body's toxins. Her sanatorium was called Wilderness Heights, but the locals called it the home of Starvation Heights because of the sinister activities that took place there. Wealthy individuals who desired to keep up with health trends of the early 1900s would check themselves into the sanatorium. Patients were into the sanatorium. Where was that? With health. Well, I lost my place. Okay, to keep up with the local trends of the 1900s, they would book themselves in a sanatorium. Patients were forced to fast over 40 days. 40 days without fucking eating ain't gonna fix you. Oh, stupid. And what's crazy is she did all this and didn't have a fucking license. Now you need a license to do this kind of stuff, thank God. And they were only allowed to eat certain kind of soups and orange juice in small amounts. One Hazard patient was Daisy Hangelod, the mother of Ivan Hangelod, who founded Aviar's seafood restaurant. She died in Hazard's care while Aviar was still a toddler. While some completed the treatment and raved about its benefits. 40 patients died of Starvation Heights. Even when patients realized that the treatment wasn't helping them, they were too physical and too weak to leave. Ah, that makes sense. In their weakened state, Hazard would manipulate them into changing their will so she would receive a large portion of their money upon their death. She was found guilty of manslaughter in 1913 when a wealthy British heiress died in her care. Hazard went to prison for 2 years, then came back to Olawa to reopen her sanatorium. The phony practitioner had an one-site crematorium and cemetery for her deceased patients. Both were hidden far in the woods. She would personally perform autopsies on her patients, cremate them, and then bury them in the cemetery. This cemetery is said to be haunted and is the subject of many local paranormal group investigations. Paranormal investigators have reported seeing ghosts in the cemetery, and they have received EVP noises. The original Starvation Heights house has been torn down. A family that lived in the home reported that they had seen ghosts and that their furniture would get rearranged without explanation. So if you're hungry for adventure and if you want to have and you have an appetite for the unexplained, then go visit Starvation Heights, baby. Who knows? You might find a treatment for yourself. Sorry, that laugh was kind of retarded. Well, guys, that was it for the show today. I'm glad you stopped by and checked it out, guys. I think we got what, one more week of 1 or 2 more weeks left of August, and then it's September. Cooler weather, and that means spooky times will be coming. I can't wait for October. I got a great story to cover this year for the Halloween special, and it's a big good one. I've been saving it for a long time, guys, just for you. But I'm glad you guys stopped by today to check out the show. I'm glad you guys are growing with me. The podcast is growing, and I'm so proud of that. It's amazing. So you guys keep up the good work and all that, and we will catch you cool cats later. I am Stephen LeBooth. This is Ghost Stories from the South, told from the South. Go check us out on Spotify, Pandora, iTunes, Google Play, all that stuff. And I keep our YouTube page caught up so you can check that out too. But you guys, I will see you later. Be spooky, and don't forget, hit them like buttons, subscribe buttons, and download more. Tell your friends about it. And it's getting cooler weather. Time to be listening to some creepy stories while you're around the campfire. All right, I'll quit being a dork. But I'll see you guys later. Lots of love for you. Be good, be real, and don't be too scared. See you later, guys. I'll see you guys later. Lots of love for you. Be good, be real. Oh, God. I do this every time. Sorry, YouTube. I will see you later. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. See you later, guys. See you on the next scary episode.